Unfiltered.
Like you're in another world, like you zone out.
Hello, and welcome to Unfiltered. I'm your host, Georgii Speakman, and today we're diving into the exciting, challenging, and often unpredictable world of startups. If you've ever thought about starting your own company, or if you're already on that path, this episode could very well be for you. We're going to break down the pros and cons of launching a startup, the costs involved, the operational elements you need to consider, and the mindset required to stay in the game for the long haul, because I'm assuming we're all here to achieve some degree of success. So let's start with the most fundamental question. Why a startup? Well, for most, it's more than just about making money. It can be about pursuing a vision, so bringing your unique ideas to life, solving a very specific business problem, offering solutions that the market needs, creating freedom, building something on your own terms that can be incredibly rewarding, making an impact, changing industries, communities, or even lives. These are powerful motivators, but they're only part of the equation. The startup journey can be extremely challenging, and to succeed, you need to understand the realities that come with it, and I'm here to share a few of those with you today. As we dive in, I want to reflect upon some facts which may or may not have changed since I collected this data, but there are reported to be over about 580 million entrepreneurs in the world. There are a lot of go-getters out there that either don't want to work for the machine, so to speak, and that are driven to pursue greater self-sufficiency and purpose. As of November 2024, approximately 4.75 million new business applications were submitted in the USA alone, funnily enough reflecting a 5.28% decrease compared to the same period in 2023, which is interesting, but not surprising. As of 2020, there were reportedly 274 million female entrepreneurs worldwide, and as of 2024, women own approximately 42% of all businesses in the USA alone, totaling nearly 13 million enterprises. However, the average failure rate for year one is 10%. Not too bad, right? But in years 2 to 5, over 70% of new businesses fail, and there can be a number of different reasons for this. A few of these reasons include, but of course are certainly not limited to, a great deal of entrepreneurs rushing in, thinking that their idea alone is enough, yet don't have experience working in all other critical areas of a business to ensure its sustainable success as an interconnected ecosystem. A lot of founders are very technical oriented and driven, yet fail to understand that technology requires a heartbeat. From developing a founder's story, creating a personality through brand, community development, creative marketing efforts, and much more. There are two sides of the coin which are often overlooked: the front and back ends of any business, which must seamlessly interconnect. However, a lot of technical founders are not at all business savvy or relationships oriented by nature. In a great deal of startup environments, founders and employees are required to naturally wear many hats, yet the dilution of roles and responsibilities at the same time alone can often cause huge conflicts, along with interdepartmental breakdowns as a result of too much crossover between roles, responsibilities, and all the rest. Even communication. So a great deal of founders, strive to achieve their master viable product, their MVP, and go to market without properly formulating infrastructure or process, policy, and procedure across their business, only to find several areas of their business not growing or sustaining themselves as fast as well as they need, or as well as they need to in order to be able to keep the doors open. Conflicted co-founders. Again, co-founders that are different in personalities, nature, and skill set. So for example, I worked for a startup once that had a technical founder who basically and solely focused on number acquisitions for the app at hand. However, the other co-founder cared mostly about developing the culture of the brand, the in-market, presence, strategic partnerships, and more. But because they were literally so different in backgrounds and thinking, it resulted in the dilution or the dissolution, basically, of the USA office. And a hell of a lot of money went down the drain as a result. These are obviously just a few of the holistic issues that can arise amidst the journey, and of course, there can be many more. Further, and I do want to expand upon the prospective considerations here, but I'm not trying to sound negative or come off as providing a half glass attitude-driven perspective, not only because of the saying, only fools rush in, but also because after having worked in or with over 15 startups myself, I know from firsthand experience what some of these challenges can entail, irrespective of the age, experience levels, or the life cycle of any operation. And arguably, a lot of these issues can be prevented or solved before it's too late. But it's a matter of adopting the consciousness, willingness, awareness, and the framework to do so. Again, only fools rush in. Understanding that obviously none of us are perfect. The entrepreneurial journey is far from perfect. We all know that a hell of a lot of us learn by doing, that everyone is most likely going to have a different opinion, but that doesn't withstand the need to do as much groundwork in advance as possible. Because let me tell you, the stakes can end up being very high. There are always lessons to learn, growth to be had, and of course there's a saying like everything happens for a reason, failure included. However, the risks associated with not getting as much of the startup journey or business infrastructure operating correctly or in as best order or shape as possible from inception can result in various costly dysfunctions, unhappy staff, poor word of mouth marketing, damaging online business reviews, an inability to attract suitable staff or investors, lawsuits, a breakdown in partnership with your co-founders, bad press, poor mental health, and the possible dissolution of your business altogether, to name just a few. But these are the realities. Starting a business, pursuing a startup or entrepreneurial life is no easy fate. It's mostly super underestimated in terms of what it takes to be successful. And again, it's not for the faint of heart. As I said at the very beginning of this episode, anyone can have a great idea. Most human beings are creative by nature, but it's most likely that the idea is simply not enough. Commencing a startup can be extremely confrontational on every level, can induce an astronomical amount of stress and change your life as you know it now and today. I share this with you again not to deter you from your journey or from achieving your dreams, but rather to paint a truthful, realistic, considered, and unfiltered, no pun intended, truth surrounding the possible realities of a startup life, because it is a lifestyle choice after all. But let's look at the prospective costs, tangible and intangible. So of course, there will be financial costs, such as the initial investments from product development, possible hiring, marketing. Obviously takes money to make money, yet so many technical founders overlook this and run out of money before they're even in a position to consider marketing. Establishing legals, even trademarking, which can add up incredibly quickly, and so on. Many startups require tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to get off the ground. There's your burn rate. This refers to how quickly your startup spends money. Pure investment is a whole other time-consuming, highly coordinated kettle of fish, which you may or may not have the opportunity to do or pursue in due course. There are always going to be hidden expenses from taxes, software subscriptions, and general operational costs, which can catch founders off guard at any turn, let me tell you. Time costs. Building a startup is absolutely a full-time commitment and then some. Speaking from experience, where I've had to work often 18-hour days for months on end, and just about every Saturday at least, you'll be facing the long hours, weekends, and sacrifices in your personal life, which you have to be prepared, for to the best of your ability. No one can ever prepare you for this journey, but it's part of the deal. So all aspects of the startup journey will, without fail, take more time, more hours, and more of an investment in all areas than initially anticipated. Emotional cost, let's not overlook this one. The highs can be exhilarating. It's very exciting, but the lows can be absolutely crushing. Rejection, setbacks, and uncertainty are part of the ongoing journey. I want to say that you must have a tremendous backbone, resilience, and inner strength to take on the trajectory of a startup life. But of course, most people just dive in. I've made that mistake personally, hoping for the best, but underestimate the very real risks surrounding burnout. For example, I never believed in burnout as a hardworking, resilient individual, but the thing with burnout is there is no warning. That's the whole point. Burnout will find you and can happen literally overnight before you can often work out what's even happening. Recovery time from burnout naturally varies from individual to individual. I've known founders and entrepreneurs who have become very sick and have had to take months or sometimes even years off to recover. Again, startup life is not for the faint of heart. There will naturally and most importantly be operational elements to consider where you will require a robust strategy to turn that idea into a functioning business. You have to think of your prospective startup or existing business as a well-oiled machine with many functioning parts that have to be operating in complete synchronicity, efficiency, and with maximum communication. So let me take you through a few high-level ways of thinking about what needs to go into the operational components. Number one, interoperability. Possibly one of my favorite sentiments and words, particularly in business. So a startup thrives on its ability to create an interconnected ecosystem between front end and back end operations. So for example, the back end obviously refers to the core technology, the systems, data, the architecture that make your business run. Think of this as the engine of your company. The front end, well, this is your brand, story, and identity, like how your customers experience your business. It's the user interface, marketing, and ongoing messaging. But both must work seamlessly together to deliver value to your customers. This means that investing in technology while also crafting a compelling narrative and brand identity is critical. In fact, you should always start with the founder's story and the brand identity, values, mission, goals, objectives, all the things first. As you're obviously setting out to establish the technology. But when you succeed in this and establishing this beautiful and seamless interconnected ecosystem, then you'll obviously be in a position to truly create culture and community in and around your startup in time. Number two, strategic planning. This is essential to be able to define your mission and goals clearly. There are so many assets to build out, such as your brand Bible, various toolkits, product toolkits, marketing Bibles, the list goes on. And within this, of course, all the different creative elements as well as value statements and more. So I suggest starting here, as I just mentioned before, diving into the specificities of your go-to-market strategy, because you really have to understand who you are, what your own identity is, what you're striving for, and so on before you can actually launch to market. It is always good to have the end goal in mind first, i.e. I want to sell out in 3 years, or like I want to, do an acquisition, acqui-hire, this, that, whatever. I want to do a merger. Like I want to franchise this business, have that end goal in mind, but make sure that you're working back accordingly. So develop a competitive go-to-market strategy that aligns with your target audience. So make sure you are very clear on all your customer avatars and who it is that you're selling to. Lean into the likes of ChatGPT to design a go-to-market strategy if you need the support. Keep feeding it data and keep refining your market strategy and position until you believe you're completely on point, knowing that over time, things must adapt and pivot accordingly. Naturally plan for sustainability and scalability. So factoring in and building systems that can grow with your business and customer base over time and more, such as the prolific integration of AI, whether that's in a DIY, do-it-yourself setting, such as ChatGPT, or if you have the funds to invest in your own custom AI solution, awesome. But just obviously be mindful that custom AI can become very expensive very quickly in order to maintain it and remain competitive on a longer term basis. And, building great AI that can be scalable and sustainable takes time, which of course takes money. Number 3, team building. So a great team is the backbone of any startup. Hiring people who obviously not only share your vision and complement your skills, but also have respect for like each other's roles and responsibilities. That might be like easier said than done in a lot of environments. But seeing the value in the varying departments and knowing how to act as a team player is essential. I've seen it before where the engineering teams won't communicate well with product development, or product development do a terrible job at communicating with marketing or product marketing, who somehow fail to communicate effectively to sales and so on. It's often because they don't understand what each department or job roles do. So it's really, really important to understand how these people think, how they're thinking, what they're doing, and then how to extract the important information from them so you can apply it to your own role, but also that department and division. Just because you have the key departments established, it doesn't actually mean that they know how to communicate effectively or with one another, and in turn create that well-oiled machine, which is what your startup should be. And of course, if you're starting out and running all the different departments yourself, because I know I've been there where I've had to wear every goddamn hat, from accounting to strategy to business development to marketing to client execution, to the list goes on, then obviously wear all the hats, but constantly value all of the different hats so that you actually learn by doing, learn the value and learn what your strengths and weaknesses are amidst that journey and process, and then hire up or outsource accordingly when you're in a position to do so, to fill in the gaps that you can in case budgets, for example, are tight. Number 4, communication. I just touched on the importance of communication, but I literally cannot stress this enough. Communicate. Not just with others, but with yourself. You must have strong interpersonal skills and abilities, as well as self-awareness and intuition. But further, systems, processes, policies, procedures in-house to support each of these moving parts of the business. Communication is literally everything. It is hands down one of the most critical elements to the business. If you're not a good communicator, then hire people who are. But don't ever underestimate the power and value in communication, because your business will be at seriously high risk of failing, wasting astronomical time, money, negatively impacting client results, relationships, and so much more. I've seen it before where individuals simply cannot communicate effectively, and it results in mess ups in the business or in client related outcomes, and results that could have been very, very easily prevented. Think of communication as the breath, or literally the blood that's pumping through the veins of any startup or business. Number 5, continuous learning, or what I love to term as micro learning, which will be a huge part of your ongoing day-to-day. And, that's exciting, but sometimes it can be overwhelming knowing what not to pay attention to, but also focus on. There's an extreme amount of information floating around, which is awesome, but you have to literally have discernment, act as a filter, and prioritize certain information for that information to even be an effective protocol for you and your business. Of course, the correct utilization of AI will aid significantly in this aspect of your journey tremendously. The startup landscape changes rapidly, so staying updated on industry trends and adapting to new challenges is non-negotiable. And now with AI, there are DIY tools that are almost falling out of the sky that could help make your business. Technological advancement has been unfolding faster in recent years than what we've seen over the past century, and so it's critical and your responsibility as an entrepreneur or business owner that you tap in accordingly and stay connected to what's emerging in your respective industry. But that is absolutely your responsibility to stay up to date on those types of trends. Number 6, last but not least, self-care. This is critical when pursuing or maintaining a startup life. I made mention of burnout and how easily it can creep up on people. I've experienced it, and I've seen others have to shutter their entire startup because of the team having contracted burnout literally overnight. This might sound rather obvious, but you must stay hydrated. So many people forget to drink healthy fluids and wonder why they're feeling so tired, why their muscles ache, and why they have brain fog. I'm sure there could be many reasons for all those things, but I know for a big time fact that hydration is one of them. No matter what, carve out time for you. Life is about balance, as is startup life. And it's a challenge to achieve balance in startup life. But factor in regular exercise, meditation, and all the things. Find out what works for you, but maintain it. Treat self-love and self-care as an essential daily practice and, most importantly, ritual. At the end of the day, commencing a startup does have many rewards. I personally wouldn't have done my journey any other way, and I absolutely love and adore the excitement and challenges that do come with startup life, because startups constantly challenge you to do and be better. So here are a few of the pros, in my humble opinion. I love creative freedom. You get to bring your ideas to life in your way and share them with like-minded people. Impact. Your product or service could make a real difference in people's lives. Typically, the goal of a startup is to solve a specific problem or fill a gap or need in the market that you've identified. And going through the motions in accomplishing this can be deeply rewarding. Ownership. Building something from the ground up can be deeply satisfying. There's a different sense of pride, I want to say, that definitely comes along with it. Learning opportunities. Startup life catapults you aggressively into learning about everything from technology to leadership to marketing, capital raising, and beyond. You do become a jack of all trades, a master of a lot of things, because in many instances you have to be. Potential for major financial success and rewards. Now, here's one of the most exciting prospects. That's if your startup takes off, because the rewards can be significant. You could benefit from a highly profitable merger and acquisition or buyout from a larger player in the market. Amen. All in all, you must have a long game mentality. To succeed in the startup world, you need to commit to the long game, but if you found preeminent success in the meantime, fantastic. As touched on earlier, you really do have to have exceptional resilience. So accept that there will be setbacks and learn to bounce back. Adopt a positive mindset no matter what happens. Take the lessons and keep it moving. There's going to be a myriad of them. Adaptability. Be ready to pivot when things don't go as planned, which will probably happen often. Having agility is critical. Patience. Not my strong suit, but something that is absolutely required, no matter how hard and laborious things might feel. As we're aware, success rarely happens overnight, so stay focused on your vision and keep building. This is a tough one because you do constantly feel like you're in a rat wheel that never ends, and so you desperately want to jump off and just rush to the finish line. But I can't stress enough, there's seldom a finish line in startup life unless you shutter or sell. Being patient can often just mean being kind to yourself amidst the journey. Passion. Your belief in your idea will keep you going when times get tough, but still don't overlook the importance of staying on game with your strategy, which will naturally evolve. Some disagree with the concept of passion and see it as a business risk, but I can only speak for myself. I have to be truly passionate about something to make it work. If the passion isn't there, I'll most likely mentally check out at some point. Strategic thinking. Balance short-term needs with long-term goals to stay on track, and vice versa. So don't think too big picture or long-term and then not be rationally connected to what you have to do on a day-to-day basis to truly make things happen. But obviously vice versa. You still need to have the big picture in mind to keep that motivation going. And last but not least, as mentioned, communication. Without communication, there's no breath inside the endeavor, and that can result in negative outcomes very quickly. So starting a startup is one of the most challenging yet rewarding endeavors you can undertake. It requires vision, grit, and an unwavering commitment to your goals. While the journey is certainly not for everyone, it can also be incredibly fulfilling. If you're prepared for the realities that come with it, then go for it. Just do it in the name of Nike. If you overthink and have analysis paralysis, then you may never start that dream and never know if you don't try. Remember, a startup is more than a business. It's a reflection of your passion, purpose, and lifestyle choices. By investing in the right strategies, building an interconnected ecosystem between technology and brand identity, and staying in the game for the long haul, you can create something truly impactful. I could honestly talk for days about startup life and the startup journey, and so I will most likely return with other episodes that touch on related subject matter or more specific themes surrounding this fabulously unpredictable life. Thank you for tuning into Unfiltered. If you're thinking about starting a startup or are already on that journey, I hope this episode has provided you with a foundation of valuable insights or just a reminder of some of the things you need to still be thinking about. But until next time, stay determined, stay strategic, and as always, stay unfiltered.
Like you're in another world, like you zone out. You know what I'm saying?